Hey, it's Andriana here. Happy March. The last time we were together, it was still February, and things are just clipping along. And this podcast episode is sort of an extension of a TV segment that I recently did in Toronto, Ontario, all about worry-free March break travel. And because television, especially live television, can be unpredictable, and because sometimes you have a lot to say and you don't always get all of those things in, I thought, let's spend another few minutes together going over this. And if you're not in Canada, then maybe you didn't catch the segment, but I'll throw a link in the notes for this podcast episode. If you want to tune in and watch that replay, you totally can. But I thought, let's spend some time looking at how we can take the stress out of March break travel or any travel for that matter. So I have three simple steps to get over the stress and to make the travel part more enjoyable. And then just for fun, I'm going to include some of my favorite and some community member favorite hockey mom hacks. So if this sounds good to you, let's dive right in. Hey, I'm Andriana Gonco, and this is the Juggle is Real podcast. As I share my ongoing journey from experiencing burnout to leading a more mindful and intentional life with better balance, I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started. Before we get into today's episode, let me share a recent review that just came in on Amazon for the Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner. Ashley writes, so relatable, get this guide. From the beginning, I felt as though she was talking about me, and there's comfort in reading something so relatable. I'm already hooked and I'm just getting started. Thank you so much for sharing, Ashley. And if you haven't heard about the Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner yet, it's a 3-month guided journal that supports you in setting your intentions for the month by committing to yourself in small ways using 5 well-being pillars. And every day you recommit to yourself by choosing what will serve you best, by reaffirming your why, and by reminding yourself why you are worthy of the care that you invest in yourself. It's sprinkled with short stories and advice for juggling all the things. This self-care planner is an absolute lifeline for making the shift to a life with less stress, but more ease and better balance overall. Be sure to get your copy of the Juggle is Real Authentic Self-Care Planner now. It's available on Amazon, or head to the notes for this podcast episode to get the link. It makes a beautiful gift for all the busy women and new mamas in your life as well. Now let's get back to the episode. All right, so if you are fortunate enough to be traveling for March break or anytime in March or anytime for that matter, sometimes, like this winter has been really unpredictable, up and down. You might be getting that cabin fever, and you might be thinking that you might want to get away with your family. And March break is that all elusive time, because if you have kids who are school aged, or if you're a teacher, sometimes that's the only pocket that you can fit in that holiday. But between the planning and the packing and changing schedules and just the general stress of travel, sometimes that holiday, that dream vacation can feel like a nightmare. And maybe you don't even book it because you're worried about the travel part. So that is why I shared 3 simple steps to help you with getting to your destination with less worry, less stress, and just more ease overall. So for this episode, I want to share some of those things that you can do, those 3 steps. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to get into some of the hockey mom hacks, or if you're traveling with athletes, with dancers, with children who are doing extracurriculars and traveling, that can get to be a lot as well. And so I have some of my favorite tips, and I even did a shout out on Instagram, and someone shared a bunch of amazing hacks with me as well. So I want to talk about all of that. And really, when we're talking about worry-free travel, I do like to break it down into ways that can be easy to remember. And so, yeah, I put it into three simple steps. Step one is to set your intentions. Step two is to plan for travel success. And then step three is to allow for ease and support. So, step one, set intentions. I know, you know, anyone knows who has traveled that it can be stressful. Emotions are running high. And especially if you have certain timelines, right? If you have to catch a flight or certain places to be, it can feel that there's a lot of pressure. But what I have come to really enjoy is framing the traveling part, as actually part of your holiday. It's really helped our family enjoy the journey more and not just the destination. So I like to start by setting an intention for the traveling part. And it can be whatever feels right for you, whatever works for you, that's going to get you into that frequency, that mood, that vibe of, like, this is going to be good. So it can be something like, everything always works out. No matter what happens, things will work out in the end. It's going to be fine. This trip is going to be amazing. And traveling is part of the holiday. Something quick, something easy, something that you can refer to when those inevitable bumps in the road occur. And so you're going to set your intentions. You're going to come up with something that really works for you. But then you're going to get the family involved. You're going to get the people that you're traveling with involved. So get on the same page as your partner, your spouse, the person you're traveling with, and then have that meeting with your family, have that conversation, and really discuss it with them. Depending on the age of your children, you could maybe make a travel mantra together. You could write it out. I had my middle child, Ashton, actually make a little picture of our affirmation that things always work out. He drew a little airplane, some clouds, a sunshine. So get them involved, get them really feeling what that mantra is, what that intention is that you are setting now before you start the traveling part, so that you have that to refer back to. And depending on the age of your kids, it's really important that even if they can't verbalize it, even if they can't really tell, say to you, things are always going to work out, your children are going to take the cue from you. They're going to see how you are either responding to circumstances or reacting, and setting your intention with something as simple as, what, it's going to work out. This trip is going to be incredible. The traveling is part of the trip. That allows for more flexibility versus rigidity, versus that stressed person who is really dreading the traveling part. And if plans change, you can all handle it better when you're coming from that intention that things always work out. So step one, when it comes to worry-free travel, is to set that intention in advance. And now, don't get me wrong. I know that setting the intention isn't enough to make the traveling portion worry-free. So that's why we're going to go to step two, which is to plan for travel success. Because yes, traveling can be stressful, but traveling with kids, well, that just adds a whole other layer to our stress capacity and to what that entails, that whole traveling part. So between, hearing, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Or maybe you're managing your children's schedules. Maybe, I know our toddler still naps, so we're often thinking like, okay, where's he going to nap, or how's that going to happen? And, there's always, heightened emotions, and sibling spats can occur even at the most mundane times. My older boys have had full out wrestling matches at our dinner table. So sometimes it can feel really daunting when what your kids are like. Your kids are your kids, right? They're just children. So it can feel daunting. And I'm not going to lie, like for me, even, it has made me even question whether we should even travel at all, or whether we should just wait until the children are older. So I did bring to Breakfast Television some products, some items to make things easier and to make things worry-free. And I will include a link in the notes for this podcast episode where you can find all those items that I brought with me. I went to my local Jump Baby store, and that's a beautiful small shop, female owned, and the link will be there so you can check out all of those items. But there's a few rules of thumb. So you might just be going into your kids' bedrooms, into the playroom, seeing what you already have available, or going to your local neighborhood store to grab a few things to make the traveling part easier. So I have categorized them, and I have a couple of tips to share when you're looking to plan for that travel success. So we're going to group it into three things: toys, snacks, and then those comforts and conveniences. Couple of things to remember when it comes to toys. Your kids want everything. Your kids love to play with the toys. But of course, we want to minimize the space that they are taking up in our luggage. We want to choose items that serve more than one purpose. So if there are multi-purpose items that you can bring along that are going to serve, different types of play, that would be great. And then this one's really key. You want to choose items that really reduce the amount of pieces that can potentially get lost. So maybe we're not bringing the 600-piece Lego set. Maybe we're not bringing like every single marker, pencil, crayon, chalk, every type of thing, or the Barbies and the dolls and every single piece and accessory. Maybe we're going to just bring things that don't have as many pieces. I like to bring some drawing boards. There are LCD drawing boards that actually has the pen attached by a string. Okay, so they can color on it. They can play tic-tac-toe. They can do hangman. They can do all of the things. Write out lists of words. Maybe you can play some games where they're looking out the window or looking around them and finding words and copying them and writing them down. Then you're not worried about the pencils and the paper and keeping everything. It's all in one place. So that makes things a lot easier and reduces the potential for your children getting upset or those things happening and those emotions getting a little bit hairy. And then the last thing I'll say about the toys situation is that you want to find things that maybe can be cleaned easily. So you're likely going to bring a pack of wipes, of course, or if you are just running into an airport bathroom or a drive-through, something that can easily be wiped down is going to be your best bet moving forward, because things inevitably will get dirty. And final thing I'll say when it comes to the toy piece, my best advice really and truly is to use electronics at a minimum. And for us, we try to use it as a last resort. I'm not saying that it's bad. I hold no judgments. They can be a complete lifeline to have that tablet or that video game or whatever it is that your child enjoys. But I will say that, like you feel, if you are on your phone or scrolling or doing things too long, it just doesn't make you feel great after a while. So we like to try to exhaust all toys, all games. We like to allow our children to simply take in the scenery around them, play I Spy, do all of those things, and then turn to screen time. Then allow it for small periods and take those breaks frequently and scatter in the games and the toys and the different items. So that is what I would say when it comes to the toy portion. Next up is the snacks. And yes, you're not a parent unless you are traveling with snacks aplenty. So I don't have to tell you this. I know that snacks are really those things that can prevent those angry happenings. We want to make sure that our children are kept busy, but also are satiated. But what I will say is that bringing some of those snack boxes, you might already have them for your children's school or daycare when you pack those snacks for them. Bringing the snack boxes, their reusable pouches, their reusable water bottles, they're really great because you can use them as part of the travel. So you might pack something to start off your travel, but then you get to a rest stop or you get to the airport restaurants and, the kids might have 2 or 3 bites and they're full, but then, 15, 20 minutes later, they're going to be hungry again. So putting the leftover food in your pouches, in your snack boxes can be really helpful. Or if you're traveling to a resort, somewhere that has, the all-day buffet, what can be really, really great is packing those snack boxes, which are really easy to clean, bringing it to the buffet and then filling it with their favorite items, the fruits, the things that aren't going to spoil. And then you get to the pool, you get to your destination, wherever it is, inevitably someone's going to be starving 20 minutes later. And then you have that snack box already filled, got the water bottles and all those things. I feel like this is almost a moot point because parents know this, but the snack box thing has really helped us and has allowed our kids to sort of take ownership over what they're going to eat, when they're going to eat, and how. So that is what I'll say when it comes to the snack stuff and the worry-free travel. The last thing I'll say for step 2 for planning for travel success is, of course, to bring in the comfort and the conveniences that you're used to make things easier. So there are suitcases now that are so cool, that you can use them as ride-on toys. They're really that double duty. So kids can sit on them if you're waiting in a long lineup, or you can actually pull them. They can ride on this suitcase, which is either, it's a tiger or bumblebee or a ladybug or some sort of really cute pattern. And you can pull them along while riding them. Super, super fun. Having your kids carry a small backpack or a fanny pack or crossbody can really allow them to keep those items themselves, gain that independence, and really speak to their independence of the part of travel. So having those small conveniences for them, like the lip chap, if they're old enough to have hand sanitizer or hand cream, like the wipes, and then those toys that you have picked out in advance, they can keep them, they can hold on to them, and they're carrying it in a way that really suits them. So bringing those things is going to be helpful. Those comforts and conveniences, of course, if you're in the car, a pillow and a blanket can do so much, especially when it comes to the kids napping in the car. So we've covered 2 steps, and this was where the breakfast television segment ended, with looking at setting our intentions and then planning for travel success. What we didn't get to in the segment was step 3. And I think this one is so important because it's something that we can often forget, especially as moms. So step 3 is to allow for ease and support. And the key word here really is allow. So step 3, allow for ease and support. So this final tip really is to say, don't try to do it all alone. Okay. If you are traveling with a partner or a travel buddy, manage the mental load with your spouse or the person you're traveling with. This is not the time to play the martyr. And I know that we take on so much as women, as moms. However, keeping this all on your shoulders, I don't know, you may have seen the TikToks, things that have gone viral. The mom who was planning for her family's vacation did absolutely everything for everyone, packed all of the items, all of the toys, all the conveniences, everything, and then literally forgot to pack her own belongings for their trip. They got there and she had absolutely nothing. Okay, so you want to make sure that your spouse or the people that you're traveling with are all on the same page. This is not the time to try to do everything and have everything rest on your shoulders. Because let me tell you, it gets a little heavier. And if you're traveling alone, that's okay too. If you're traveling with your family, seek out those services that can make life easier when traveling. They are there for a reason. Take full advantage. So anything like an online check-in, if they have trolleys available, even if it's at a small cost, it can take so much off your plate. Just having, a trolley, an airport cart, using the concierge support or the hotel or resort staff. That is what they're there for. Use that to your full advantage and ask questions. Ask what supports are available. Ask what services are available, and ask for help when you need it. My favorite tip here is really to call on the experts who know their stuff. Online booking is amazing. I love it. It's great. You could do all the research. You can see the reviews. You can really get trapped in that review spiral because, those go on for days. And it can be great to be able to see things like photos and plan your trip. However, when you don't have unlimited amounts of time to research and prepare, going to a travel agent, even in this day and age, can be extremely helpful. And I will shout out Karen at fairconnect.com because Karen has helped me so much just in narrowing down the options. So looking to someone like a travel agent has been so helpful for taking the worry out of family travel because they make the process smoother. They provide that extra layer of support, and they can manage the legwork when it comes to things like insurance and making sure the details are correct, booking transportation, shuttles, the excursions, and then even getting those upgrades or those special bonuses. They make sure that you're not forgetting anything. And sometimes we can forget or miss things when we're booking online, right? We just simply don't know enough to know. So be sure that you're seeking out and you're asking for support along the way. And remember, this is your holiday too, right? This is a vacation for you to enjoy, for you to be present with your family, with your children, to see them at this age and this stage. You'll never have this again. And if you look back, you don't want to be looking back and feeling like, oh, I wish I wasn't so stressed out. So this is your holiday too. So allow for that ease, allow for that support, ask for help when you need it. And maybe, we can remove some of those stressors and make things worry-free. So this is all I have to say when it comes to the worry-free March break travel. How does this sound for you? How are you liking this so far? For the last couple of minutes of this podcast episode, I just want to share a few travel hacks that have been really helpful for me as a hockey mom, as a mom who's traveling with my children who are in competitive sports. And so I thought that I would give a few of those tips for road trips, or if you're traveling for those extracurriculars. I know that moms especially can be really resourceful. And even when I was talking about it and I shared a story on Instagram, there was another hockey mom who sent me a DM, and she was like, oh my gosh, I could go on for days when it comes to those travel hacks for hockey moms. So I'm actually going into my DMs right now. And this comes from Organics by Heather, which is an incredible brand. Definitely check them out on Instagram. And her son is now 17, and he and his team are going to actually to OFSA for hockey, which is the provincial championship. And she has been doing this for many years. So I'm going to read what her tips are, and then I'll share one or two of my own at the end. So Heather says that freezing Gatorade doubles as ice packs for those perishables that you're traveling. And then as they melt, you'll have those drinks available, so that, you're filling the cooler, but then in between games, your child will be able to have that water, have those electrolytes, whatever they need to stay hydrated. Another tip she has is to leverage the convenience of your crock pot as a valuable ally during your hotel stay. Okay, now this I have not done, but I have so much respect for this. My sister-in-law, she also is a crazy hockey mom in the best way. I say that with so much love and respect, but she will bring her air fryer. So let's just put that out there too. Crock pot, air fryer. And what Heather is saying is to plan ahead by preparing an additional meal in advance, something like chili, freezing it, and then you're bringing it in the crock pot. When you get to your hotel, all you have to do is plug it in, and then you have that delicious, ready to enjoy dinner waiting for you the next day. So this is awesome because for two reasons. Well, for many reasons, but number one, when you're traveling a lot, when you're staying in a hotel, it can become quite costly to be eating out at restaurants. Okay, so this is a great way to maybe save some money and add that extra convenience of not having to leave the hotel and go to a restaurant or get, food brought in and takeout brought in. The second thing I'll say that makes bringing, those conveniences like an air fryer or a crock pot with you is that there's not always the healthiest options around you when you're staying in a hotel. And when you're traveling with athletes, it is important, if they want to be at their best, that you're supporting them with those nutritious meals that's going to fuel them and nourish them and help them play their best. Okay. So we know that diet plays a huge role when it comes to things like fitness and exercise and sport. So something like this, your child already likes it. If they're a picky eater, you can choose something that they like, and B, that it's going to be nutritious and help fuel them for whatever activity it is that they're competing in. So if that's something that you're interested in, don't forget to bring that crock pot. The third thing she says is to involve your child in the shopping process to ensure that they get the snacks. So if you're going to be shopping in advance, or when you get there, if you want to find a grocery store, get them on board, ask them what it is that they would enjoy that are healthier, nutritious options that they can reach for when they get hungry. And then having that stash of convenient snacks. So things like, if there's nuts or cheese strings, crackers, protein bars, and bringing those treats with you, those snacks with you, having that handy, especially if you're driving various areas, and you don't want to be stopping, or you don't necessarily have that time to stop in between games or in between activities, having those snacks is great. And I will also say, usually team managers are really great about this, but asking for or choosing hotels that have that free continental breakfast, that can remove some of that stress and just take away one of those extra things that you're going to have to pack or have to purchase. Having that breakfast can be really handy. One thing that Heather does say here, and I have fallen victim to this. So Heather, you are a genius. She's saying, be mindful of limited space in the hotel fridges. So when you book, make sure that the hotel room does have a mini fridge. And if it doesn't, sometimes you can ask for that and request one to be brought to your room. But if you do have that mini fridge and you're bringing food with you, what she says is be mindful of the limited space and avoid overpacking. This prevents veggies from freezing or becoming soggy when thawed. This has happened to me, my friends. I brought the giant bag from Costco of mini carrots. I had all of these things jammed into this fridge, which of course froze. And then all of the snacks that I purchased, a lot of it, the fresh stuff, the produce, had to be thrown away. So be mindful of that. And this one goes for the kids is not for the kids. This is for you. If you have to be there early, if you have to drop off your kids to a locker room or to get changed or to do their warm-ups, and then you have time, my sons have to be there an hour before game time starts. You go do something for you during that time. Don't just hang out at the arena. Go for a walk, get some fresh air, stretch your legs. Maybe that's when you take a little shopping trip or excursion. I have brought in books and I've literally gone to my car, got myself a tea and sat in my car in peace and quiet, relaxed, reading my book. It is glorious. That's when you can steal those pockets for yourself, get your journal, hop into the podcast or the songs that you like, and really just enjoy that moment for you. Because when you're away for sports or for activities, so much time and energy is devoted to that child who is competing. And then, of course, the things that can be really helpful, this taps into those comforts and conveniences, involving your child in creating a pregame motivation playlist or a car playlist to play in the car. Using things like audiobooks can be really helpful, because if it's a long trip, then they're engaged in listening to, the Harry Potter or something that the whole family can enjoy. Bringing a deck of cards, bringing Uno. We love our Uno. Shout out Uno. It's helped us a lot, not just during the car, but when you're in the hotel. Sometimes there is downtime between games, but you're not really allowed to be ripping around or doing things that are exhausting you or, exerting too much energy. Bringing a small board game or a pack of Uno or a deck of cards can be really helpful. And then, of course, the pillow, the blanket, the things that are in the car that will support your child in feeling comfortable. My final tip, because so many of these I love, thank you so much, Heather, for sharing, is pack in laundry baskets. I've shared this on Instagram before, but pack in laundry baskets, because it's so much easier to rifle through versus a suitcase or a duffel bag. It's so easy to just put the folded clothes in your laundry baskets. It stacks really nicely in your vehicle, in your trunk, in your back seat, wherever you need to. And then you get to the hotel room and immediately you can just place it in the drawers in the hotel room, or just leave it in the basket. But what I'll say about taking the folded clothes from your laundry basket and just placing it in the drawers in your hotel room is that then your laundry basket that you use to transport your items now becomes the place where the dirty laundry goes. Okay. And so as you're using these things, you're placing them in the basket. And then as you leave, you just take the baskets filled with dirty clothes and they're already sorted and ready. And as soon as you get home, you can throw them in your washing machine. This takes out that step of having to quote unquote unpack, which can sometimes feel really daunting. It's like, okay, it's just here. There we go. And then finally, the final thing I'll say, and this comes from my husband's cousin, Leanne, who is a hockey wife and hockey mom through and through. Her husband is a professional hockey player. Now her son is a AAA hockey player. Her daughter is a competitive soccer player. She has been through it all, and they actually even own a hockey team now. But what she says is, if you're traveling a lot, packing, unpacking, repacking can get to be a pain in the butt. So she actually keeps a small basket that has all the things that you might need for those travel. So a small first aid kit, always in the basket. She likes to keep matches. If you're in close quarters sharing bathrooms with the whole family, you might need that match to light after someone's using the bathroom so the whole entire room doesn't smell afterwards. So key. And she brings those things like the Uno, those things, and she has a spare set that she doesn't use at home that's strictly for travel only. So those are my hockey mom, children's activity mom hacks. I hope you found some value from this. I hope that you are ready to travel with ease, feeling supported, without that worry, without that overwhelm. And if you like this episode, if you know someone who's going to be traveling in March, please share it with them. And please write me a review in Apple Podcasts, rate this episode, share it to your socials. If you're on Instagram, tag me at Andryana G. That's ANDRYANNAG. And until the next episode of the Juggle is Real podcast, thank you so much and take good care.